always have a lot to say in terms of the hot topics within games. I tend to like a niche group of games, story-rich, point-and-click adventure, and simulation primarily, along with a few 4K turn-based strategy. And therefore, normally I probably wouldn't have anything to say about Sekiro or Sekiro. Clearly, I'm not even sure exactly how to say it. But what I do find interesting is what this game has started in terms of a conversation about accessibility. I'm going to link in the box down below to this article, but I want to just read you the first 2 sentences here. Difficulty in games is entirely relative to individual players. What's ultra hard and unplayable for one is too easy and boring for another. Meaning it's a construct of the realities that game designers create, delicately tailored to the perceptions of their audience. I really liked this sentence in particular because it's true. Easy and hard doesn't just range based on whether you could use accessibility options or not. It ranges based on player experience. It ranges based on what you find enjoyable. Just because something's ultra hard, for some people, that's why they want to play it. You know, I understand that we have the appeal of games like Cuphead, Dark Souls, and it now sounds like this game as well, that part of the fun is it being hard. And I totally agree with that, first off. If that's where you get your kicks and giggles, enjoy your games like that. I haven't touched any of the 3 games I just mentioned, but I don't hate them for existing. However, I do think accessibility is an important conversation. So I have had various motor skill problems throughout my life. I had to go to handwriting therapy. I used to have problems as a child when I was tying my shoes and opening water bottles. Most of them are fine now, but I do have this vague sense that I never quite got the same exact hand-eye coordination as everybody else. I do have theories as to what this all would connect to, but I don't believe in talking about things that I'm not diagnosed with, so I'm not going to go into that here. But the point is, I'm bad at video games. My hand-eye coordination is often a struggle. My reaction times can sometimes be weird. A driver's ed teacher once told me I had tunnel vision. So if anyone would be asking for an accessible mode, I would probably be one of those people. And so here's where it gets to the crutch for me, and Persona is a perfect example. If there's a story to be missed, please make the game accessible. So Persona 5, I love the story. I love interacting with the other characters. I love leveling up the social stats. I love exploring the city and the different locations they let you go to. And so the combat, or well, not even so much the combat, more the puzzles at times, could be difficult for me. So I'm playing on safe mode, and I'm not really afraid to say it either, you know? And I think that's a good example of where there's still something that you can get from Persona, even if you aren't doing the gameplay, even if you aren't, you know, necessarily having the same risks for combat. Because I should be clear, on safe mode, you still have to do all the fights, and you still have to do the puzzles. You just don't necessarily have the same difficulty with a lot of the fights, and you also don't get kicked out of a dungeon if you lose a battle. So for me, that's awesome. So my questions about Sekiro, Dark Souls, and Cuphead would be, is there a super deep story there that I'm missing out on if I can't handle the difficulty level? If so, I totally think there should be an accessible or a safe, easy mode. It's not going to take away from people who want to have the challenge and who want to be able to say, you know, I finished this game and it's hard and I'm awesome. But if there's a really cool story to be experienced, why not let everyone experience the story, regardless of their skill or expertise in games? That's my 2 cents. But in saying that, I do believe that not all games are about story. You know, Call of Duty is not really about story. I'm sure that the single player modes have storylines to them, and I'm not trying to call out COD, But I doubt anyone would say the number one reason you play COD is the story. And so that's what I'm getting to, is I think accessibility in gaming comes down to if we're withholding someone from an experience. If you're withholding someone from an experience, then I think it would be great to try to make your game more accessible and make options for them. But if you're not, maybe it's okay that that's just a different kind of game. And I do think, as this article states, and I don't necessarily know that I want to get into in this video, it is about a lot more than just difficulty. Accessibility is also about blind video game players, deaf video game players. I don't feel comfortable going into that right now because that's not my experience, and I'd want to have someone of that experience like helping me weigh in on that. But I do think it's important that we're mindful of those people, and I don't think it makes the game easier or harder if you add a subtitle track, right? Let's say your game is all voice acting. Adding a subtitle track is going to help deaf video game players, but that has nothing to do with difficulty. Same with people who might have vision problems, making options to make GUI easier to read, making words on the screen bigger, making the colors, contrast more, contrast less based on what people need. I think people are focusing way too hard on this idea of, I don't want my video games to be easy, and not so much on the whole realm of accessibility and the different things that you may not have to think about anytime you pick up a controller, but other people do anytime they pick up a game. So that's my 2 cents. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this below. I know it's a controversial topic and I've never even played this game, so if I get hate, that's cool, part of life. But either way, thanks for watching, and peace out.